All right, what's going on, everyone? Today is Thursday. It's Thursday full count, and I am here today with Jonathan Mathis. Jonathan, how are things going on your end?
Hey, what's up, Nate? I hear you're on the West Coast now. Everything is
Yeah.
good, man. It's sunny and it's nice, and it's cooling down a bit. I feel wonderful today. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's been probably about it's been like a little less than a week since I moved up here, up north and west. Let's go ahead and get things started. So we're going to start things off. We have a segment that we like to do is Baseball Jeopardy. I don't know the topics to this, and it's if we get three wrong, and it's if we get one wrong, it's an out. Three outs, game over. But if we get up to 10, it's also game over because of time's sake. Um, so let's go ahead and get this started. The very first question of the Baseball Jeopardy is, what player won the 2001 Most Valuable Oriole honors, batting with having a batting average of 3.11 and an RBI of 97? And the choices are Brady Anderson, Tony Batista, and Jeff Conine.
Code 9. I
Oh
remember.
no, yeah.
Um, it's been so long ago. I have to go with Brady Anderson.
Um, I kind of feel the same way. Go ahead and go with that. And that is incorrect. And the correct answer was Jeff.
It was Jeff Code 9?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if I could remember correctly, he did have a solid year that year. I remember him. I remember when he also played for I believe it was the Florida Marlins.
Yeah, I didn't know. I haven't really. I didn't know much about that era during then. So, who led the Orioles with 8 home runs in? Who led the Orioles with 8 home runs in 1954? Carl Abrams, Vern Steffens, or Chuck Deering?
That's a tough one because that's way before my time. Way
um,
before my time. That's more in my mom's era. Well, not even. She wasn't born until a year later. So, I mean, 1954 was a long time ago. But you know who will probably know this and who would probably be able to answer this one? My dad, if he was still alive, because he followed baseball. He knew the sport really well, and he could probably tell you who this guy was in 1954. But if I have to guess, I'm gonna go in the middle. I'm gonna go with Vern Stevens.
I was going down and going back and forth between two of them. I did a little bit of research down in the 50s, a little bit before the show started, actually. But if I remember correctly, I think it was Vern Steffens. I'm going to agree with you on that. Oh, whoops. I just clicked Carl Abrams. That's my bad. And it was Vern Steffens. I'm not going to count that. Who was the Orioles' first general manager? What is it with all the Orioles questions today?
Yes. What is it with all the Orioles questions? I mean, I'm not an Orioles expert. I don't live in Maryland for one. I did know who Cal Ripken Jr. was because I think everyone who followed baseball knew who
Yeah.
that was. He was the Iron Man. I know a little history about the Orioles, but some of these questions are tough and you would have to do thorough research to have an understanding of who these guys really are and which one is right.
Um, for me, I think Paul Richards. It's like the last question. I'm going to toss that one out. Going down with Art Ehlers and Lee Maxwell. Um, But yeah, again, it's really hard. You have to do a lot, like you said. I'm gonna go ahead and, if you agree with this, I'm gonna go with art.
Go for it.
Yes, that was correct.
Someone's been doing their homework.
What was the only season that the Orioles scored a B on their caps, that had a B on their caps instead of the bird? That's not a fourth Orioles question. 54, 66, or 63?
What was the only season that the Orioles wore a B on their cap? I believe that was 1963.
Yeah, I'm going with you on that. Yeah, that's another home run. So that's now what, 5 questions?
Yeah, that one I knew already about the Boston B on the. I mean, not the Boston B, the Baltimore B on the cap.
That is now the 6th question. That's an Oriole question. What player ranks third behind Cal Ripken and Brooks Robinson in games played as an Oriole? Al Bunbury, Mark Bellinger, or Eddie Murray?
It's Al Bunbury.
Okay. That I didn't know. Oh, it's actually Mark Bellinger. We'll go one more since the.
Wow. I don't know why I thought it was Al.
We'll go one more question. Well, one more out because the second time was clicked the wrong button.
Give me one in the 90s. I bet you I'll get it right.
Oh, another Orioles question that's in the 60s. What Orioles pitcher gave up Ted Williams' last career home run in 1961? Matt Peepas, Steve Barber, or Jack Fisher?
I'll let you take a guess on this one.
This one, I'll have to go with Steve. Oh, that's incorrect. That's 3 strikes. So, moving away from that segment, going into the next topic, which already we have 7 questions. 7 comments. Excuse me. Vern, John Suggs, Richards, Wow, 63, Bellinger, Fisher, autocorrect. So going into the next topic, break down some of the games that happened today. Let's start off with Tampa Bay Rays. They beat the Baltimore Orioles 7-2. And then we talk a lot about this on the show, but the Orioles, they had 5 pitchers playing this game. 5 pitchers, and which, it's not as crazy as 12 that I saw in a Dodgers-Padres game. 12 pitchers by the Padres and I think 11 by the Dodgers. But they start way too many pitchers, and I don't know what I think that's really kind of ruining baseball.
the number of pitchers being used in a game. It's
Yes.
just it's the new trend. I mean, a lot of teams are doing it now. You're seeing teams that use openers and not starters, and they have what you call bullpen games. I mean, it's more common in this era now. I don't necessarily like it either because I'm more of a traditional guy. You know, I grew up in a time where you would see your starters go to 7 or 8 innings, or at least up to 6 innings. That's not the case today. It's a different ball game today. And the Orioles, yes, they do use a lot of pitchers. The Orioles, they got off to a fast start. They looked impressive early, and then they just took a massive hit. They never found themselves. They're 38-81, horrible record. The Tampa Bay Rays, on the other side of things, are 74-47. This is a team that got to the World Series a year ago. They're well managed. They have great players over there. They don't have big name players, and for it to be a small market team, they certainly have had a lot of success. So it's amazing what we're seeing from the Rays. Now, can they get back to the World Series? That's another question for another day. That might be very tough considering how the AL stacks up this year. You got teams that's better than they were a year ago. Coming into this series, though, the Rays were heavily the favorites to beat the Orioles. So it's not really a surprise to see Tampa Bay win the game. Also, let's realize this too, Nate. The Rays have won 8 in a row. Make that 9. They entered this game winning 8 straight, and now they won 9. So, and on the other side of things, the Orioles haven't been doing too well. They came into this game having lost 14 games in a row to sink even further below 500 on the year. So it's been a lousy year for the Orioles, and for the Rays, it's been an incredible run again. They've been a team to watch in the AL East for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Now we do have a couple of comments in the comment section. John Suggs says that the Angels and the Tigers was a slugfest today, and that's actually the game that we're going to go ahead and talk about next. The final score of that game was the Angels ended up pulling the win over the Detroit Tigers, 13-10. And my one question for this game is: do you ended up seeing the Angels with the record being a 62-61? Do you see them being a playoff team?
That's a good question. Can Ohtani put this team in contention? Because you're without Mike Trout right now. Your pitching is not the greatest of the great. That's the thing that hinders the Angels is their pitching. Their pitching hasn't been solid. Ohtani, he has been amazing. He has exceeded the otherworldly. This is a guy who has come on and has become a superstar in this league. He has drawn comparisons to Babe Ruth. He's probably the best two-way player we've seen in the modern era. He's a name that has been, big around baseball, and he has changed the landscape of the sport. Ohtani is the only thing that's exciting about the Angels at the moment. When you look at their record, it is 61-61. That's not very impressive considering that you arguably have the best player in baseball, because we could debate all day.
They're the best two.
Ohtani is the best player in baseball. I mean, yes, they have the star power in that lineup, and once Mike Trout comes back, they'll be even better. But I don't see the Angels making it to the playoffs. I think it's too. I think it's too difficult with what they're up against. You remember you got the A's playing really well. So I don't think they'll get a wild card spot, not in the American League.
I don't but I'm gonna go for a different reason actually. They have a tough schedule on the road. I mean, their next 6 games are against they're winnable games. You play the Indians for those next 3, and then you play the Orioles for the next 3. But then you're talking about teams like the Padres, teams like the Yankees, Rangers easily going to win that. You go back to the Padres, you go to the Astros, go to the White Sox, and then the A's, and then the Astros. It's going to be a rough set. Again, going back to the Mariners, who I think, even though they don't really have the best starting pitching or the best batters, I do think they have one of the best farm systems. So I think the Mariners are Seattle Mariners are an up and coming team. We'll talk more about them later. But to answer my own question, no, I don't think so, because of they have a rough stretch coming up.
Yeah, they definitely have a tough schedule ahead of them. It's not a soft schedule at all. And those teams that you mentioned have been seeing the ball very well. Mm-hmm. They have been, scorching hot. And that's not a good sign for the Angels, considering that they have not pitched considerably well.
Up next actually is the Seattle Mariners. Speaking of, they beat my Rangers today. It was a game that honestly I felt like it had a weird ending to it, because you go down the extra innings. You're tied. The game's tied 7-7. Well, actually, let's backtrack. Let's backtrack a little bit before that. The Seattle started off early. They scored. They were up over the Rangers 4-0. But then, Rangers scored in the 5th and the 6th, making it splitting the lead to 4-2. 5-2 in the 8th when Seattle scored one more run. But then that's where things started to get tied up a little bit. Where the score tied was in the 9th inning, making the score 7-7. Well, actually, there was a little bit that happened in the first, but so you go out into the 10th inning. I didn't really see what actually happened top of the 10th, but bottom of the 10th, I saw a little bit from the game highlights. Apparently, the Rangers scored at the bottom of the 10th, but they didn't. It was not counted. There was it was supposed to be a 3-run home run, but it actually did not. I don't know the whole story behind it. I didn't see the full game, but it was not hit. It was not, it was supposed to be a 3-run home run, but it did not count. Maybe because of the ref call or something. But then you go into the 11th, and Seattle basically beats them 2-1. It was a tough game that ended up being going into 11 innings. The final score of this game was 9-8. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, can it get any worse for the Rangers? The Rangers are 7-22, a staggering 7-22 since the All-Star break. And at 42-77, that matches a season low. 35 games under 500. If you're a Rangers fan right now, it's got to be very tough, because this team is horrible. This team is definitely young. They are definitely in a rebuild. As for the Mariners, they still have a shot to get to the playoffs, believe it or not. It's really hard to believe, considering that the Mariners have, been in mediocrity for so many years now. We haven't seen the Mariners make a playoff run since 2001. So, I mean, there's light at the end of the tunnel, it seems, for the Mariners. The Mariners, they have a shot while Texas is in a rebuild. Texas doesn't have much of a shot. So it's nothing new for the Rangers. They're used to losing now. Losing has become a habit for them. And honestly, I don't think they care anymore at this point. I think it's like whatever to them because they are obviously in a rebuild. As for the Mariners, who have won 5 of their last 6 games and pulled within 4 games of the American League's last wild card spot, they still have a shot here. They know they are in contention, and I think they will give it a good shot the rest of the way.
Yeah, and I don't think that the Mariners are going to make it this year, but I do feel like the Mariners will have a great season coming up next year. Yeah, like I said, they have one of the best farm systems in the league. Mm-hmm. They have an okay roster. Well, they've been winning lately, but I don't think because of earlier in the season, I don't think it's going to be enough to make a playoff run or even push them to playoff seeding. Going in a little bit more into John's comment, oh gosh, I can't remember how long ago this was, but John said that he doesn't think that the Detroit Tigers will win more than 20 games this season. Obviously that ended up not being true, but this was before the games start. This was before then. And this has been a little bit of back and forth joking going on because even though my Rangers are doing terrible right now, they and doing worse than the Tigers, even they have more than 20 wins. So moving on to this next game, the Athletics, they play the Chicago White Sox earlier today, and they ended up winning that game 5-4. Basically a bounce back because a good friend of mine who's an Oakland Athletics fan, he actually told me that the one team that Texas Rangers do have a winning record against is the Oakland Athletics. So they struggled against us pretty much all season, and now I feel like this is pretty much a bounce back off of the series that they had against us. That's really all I have to say about this. This is another one of those games where multiple teams started more than one players, more than one pitchers. Both teams actually did with 4. But Lance Lynn, talking about the Chicago White Sox a little bit, this was not today, but this was a couple days ago. He was kicked out of the game because of his because of the powdery substance incident. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would be upset too. I'm with Lance Lynn. If you're gonna check for substances, you have to be consistent with it. And I think he was upset because they waited late to actually, check for substances. And that's what triggered the whole altercation and the whole disagreement there. But he does have a point, and I understand why he's upset. I mean, I would be upset too if they all of a sudden say they want to check me for substances, for foreign substances. I mean, this whole thing is ridiculous anyway. I mean, baseball has to come up with a different way to do this. Invent a new ball or something. Come up with a ball where the players can get a better grip on it, so we won't have to go through this, because this is going to continue to happen if baseball doesn't come up with a better solution.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And if they needed to come up with something, I didn't realize that it was actually this happened late. I thought this was happening earlier, earlier in the game. But moving on and talking about the next one, the Astros, they won earlier today, beating the Royals 6-3. In this one, the starting pitcher for the Astros was Luis Garcia. He ended up scoring 3 runs for the. He ended up throwing 3 home runs for the Royals. However, so I understand benching him, but looking into the pitcher that replaced him, he didn't even. He only pitched for 2 innings, and during those 2 innings, he didn't get any hits off of him. He didn't get any home runs off of him. So, what was the point of having? What was the point of there being 4 other runs? It's this whole statistic baseball thing is ridiculous. I've been talking about this so many times on this show.
Well,
when is it going to change?
Yeah, but you have to realize too, baseball's a numbers game. It always has been. I mean, analytics and numbers are a huge part of baseball. And sometimes we focus more on the numbers than we do on the production of the player. I think, honestly, we should be more focused on the player that produces, the player that gets hot, the player that, is making something happen for your team. Not what he's necessarily done in the past because of what his numbers say on the stat sheet, but that's how baseball has always operated. It's always been a game of numbers. It still is, and it will remain to be a game of numbers. So I'm not surprised.
I feel like they're looking at the wrong numbers. That's just personally me, because it shows you on the stat sheet how many strikeouts, how many home runs that he has thrown, how many hits that he's thrown on the stat sheet. So I honestly think they're just looking at the wrong numbers.
Yeah, it could possibly be that they're looking at the wrong numbers, but I mean, hey, they do the same thing here with the Dodgers. They continue to put Kenley Jensen in the 9th inning because of what his numbers show previously. But just because he was once a dominant closer doesn't mean he's going to be a dominant closer today, but that's how baseball is, man. They rely heavily on analytics. I think most of these teams do now. And I feel like that has ruined the game of baseball.
I'm going to pull up a comment moving on to the next topic, actually. Looking at it, actually. Oh, right here. A team that looks like they finally getting some things together is the Diamondbacks. I think they will end up with more wins than the Rangers and the Pirates. As much as it hurts to say this, I agree with the Rangers' perspective. I don't think I actually agree about the Pirates. I think the Pirates will end up having more wins than the Diamondbacks. Now, do you think that? Do you disagree with me, or do you agree with John, or do you disagree with both of us?
Look, the Pirates are a lowly team. They're not going to get that many more wins. They're horrible. To me, they're the worst team in the league. Then you talk about the Diamondbacks. Who's going to finish last in with having the worst record? Mm-hmm. Is that what you're asking me?
Yes.
I think it's going to be the Pirates.
I totally based off of how the Rangers have been doing lately, I don't necessarily agree with that. It's just a personal opinion because we do have 20 more games left, so there's still plenty of time.
Hey, we could agree with this though. In the National League, the Pirates will finish last, and in the American League, the Rangers will finish last.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if they don't finish last, I mean, the only team I can think that they might beat is the Orioles. But even then, I still think the Orioles will finish ahead over the Rangers.
Yeah, I think so too. The Rangers are just on a lousy, losing streak right now.
So the rest of the games today are actually not done yet. You have the Minnesota Twins who are losing right now against the New York Yankees and still top of the 8th. Any predictions on this one?
Yeah, the Yankees will hold on to win. The Twins never have that much success against the Yankees, particularly in the playoffs. So I think the Yankees will hold on. The Twins are not that good of a team. They've traded their best pitcher, in my opinion. I don't know what direction that team is going in. That team to me is cheap. Their owner is cheap because he's had numerous of opportunities to build around some very good players and has failed to do so. So I blame it on the ownership there, why the Twins could never find themselves in a better place than where they are now. But the Yankees will hold on. The Yankees are better than the Twins, and they still have their number.
Yeah. The second to last game, well, actually, it's third to last. But second to last game to talk about that's going on right now. One game has not started yet, and that is actually your Dodgers. But the Cincinnati Reds are currently beating the Miami Marlins 6-1, and the pitcher going on right now for the Miami Marlins is Brian Mitchell, and the pitcher going on for right now for the Reds is Michael Lorenzen. Any predictions for this one?
Yes, Cincinnati looks like they have full control of the game. I think they will hold on to win. They're 65-57 on the season. They still have a lot to play for while the Marlins don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can agree with you on that. So the last game that's still going on is the Cardinals and the Brewers. Currently the score is 4-1. It's the bottom of the 5th, so it's about halfway. Half the game's over. Brian Woodruff is the guy that is pitching for the Brewers, while the Cardinals their current pitcher right now is Junior Fernandez. Who's actually just got put into a pitch. He's been pitching for 0.2 innings. It's not even a full inning. Now, any predictions on this one?
I'm a little surprised that the Cardinals took a step back. I thought they would, be.
I thought they were going to win the.
I thought they was going to be. I thought it was going to be a close race between them and Milwaukee. I really did. I thought it would be tight, but it doesn't look that way. The Brewers, to me, I think they're the best team in that division, and they will, hold on and stay out in front.
Now I think they are the best team in the division, but I didn't back then, back when the season first started. I had them as being the surprise team to not make the playoffs this year, with the Cardinals winning the division.
Yes, me too. I had the Cardinals winning the division as well to start the season, especially after they had traded for Nolan Arenado. Mm-hmm. I felt that was another bat that they could use in their lineup with Paul Goldschmidt. And then, of course, you have the veteran Yadier Molina. But I think pitching has been a bit of a problem for the Cardinals. Not so much their offense, even though they have, had moments where they slumped as well.
I feel like Cardinals and the Brewers have opposite problems. Birds have a little bit of an issue on offense, even though they're winning today. It's one of the more runs. But the Cardinals have better, more of an issue on pitching than the Birds do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, going into the last game, it's actually your Dodgers that are playing against the New York Mets. Any predictions on this one? It's 60-60 New York Mets against the 75-46 Dodgers.
This past weekend, the Dodgers have had success against the Mets. They swept them in the last series when they played them in New York. Now the series is here in LA. I think the Dodgers will continue to play well. They've been very hot. Max Muncy has been tremendous. He has been a huge bat in that lineup. No, you don't have Mookie Betts, but you have other guys who are, stepping up at the right time. You have Corey Seager. He came back. He's playing really well. You have AJ Pollock. He can be huge for you offensively. And then tonight they have Corey Knebel starting, who used to be a Milwaukee Brewer. He used to be a closer for the Brewers, but he's going to open tonight's game, which is pretty interesting to me. I think the Dodgers will get the victory tonight. I think they will go to 76 46 on the season. That'd be 20 games over 500. The thing is with them is that they're still trying to catch the red hot Giants. I think it's going to come to a point where the Giants kind of fall off a bit, because I think it's very hard to sustain the type of run that they've been on. And at some point, I think they're going to slow down. I think they're going to have a rough month of September, and I think that's when the Dodgers are going to use that opportunity to catch the Giants.
So that's really all I had on the baseball side of things. Anything else that you would like to talk about?
I think we just about covered it, my friend. It was an awesome show with you. Anytime you need a guest to come on, just let me know. I love talking about baseball. Baseball was one of my first sports growing up, my first love. So, I'm always willing.
Just my second behind football.
Yeah, it's my second behind football as well. Football is my number one, but baseball was one of my earliest memories as a child. So, I've stayed close to the game. Always, watched baseball. So if you ever need a guest to appear on, just let me know, and I'll be down to come on and chat some baseball with you.
Okay. All right. So this has been Nate the Great and Jonathan Mathis signing out. We'll see you guys next Thursday.
Peace.
Nobody separated himself.
No.
So
and as y'all notice too, being NFC East fans, that division is always on the line to the very last week of the season every time. So I mean, the Washington football team could very easily win it, just through sheer defense. Offensively is where their question is. Giants, I feel like, are a little bit more well-rounded, but to me, the biggest
offensive line and quarterback same
is that. Dallas, I mean, the defense is really the big question. As far as talent and just names on paper, Dallas is probably one of the most talented teams in the division. It's just a matter of Dallas getting out of their own way and not choking in the playoffs. And really even Philly, I think Philly is one of those. They are in a rebuild, but I don't think they're as worse off as some of these other teams that actually are in a rebuild year. I think Nick Sirianni's not going to be as bad. I have a little bit of questions about him. but there's still a lot of good veteran core players there. I think Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. He had a lot of good flashes for them last year. So really, I think anybody in this division could really take it.
Freddie, before you say something ridiculous, I just need a moment of silence for Tony because he's one of the only people that came on the show, and it's not if hate. He doesn't hate. He says everything real, no bias. I've been trying to say that about the NFC East, but they called me crazy because I'm a diehard Eagles fan and I go crazy about my Eagles. I've been trying to say, and I was non-biased when I said the division is wide open. Every team has its flaws. No team separated himself. But they called me crazy. So I'm glad to see another fan of the NFC East understand that this division is wide open and is not one-minded like Mr. Freddie, who still claims he's a Giants fan, but I'll never believe him.
Hey, I appreciate that being a Cowboys fan, that I'm not completely delusional, but I consider myself one of a realistic Cowboys fan.
Tony, I do want to correct you on one thing, my friend. You said one thing wrong. You said the only thing concerning you about a Cowboys fan is your defense. You should be concerned about your offensive line as well. The last couple of years, we've seen this offensive line. You know, it was known to be one of the best offensive line in football, but they cannot stay healthy. And with you having a Dak Prescott dealing with injury already, when you have Ezekiel Elliott coming back, you want to make sure that line is intact. You need to protect Dak Prescott as much as you can. That should be a concern as well. It's not just the defense. And then I want to say one thing. With Dak Prescott not playing in preseason, first week one is against a loss going against Tampa. And it's a good chance. It is a good chance you going to LA to play the Chargers that it could be a loss going against Herbert as well. So don't count the Chargers out. I like what the Chargers did in all season. You guys could go 0-2, and then you in the game week 3. You play against Philadelphia, even though Philadelphia beat underdogs, just like you guys said in the NFC.
Underdogs.
Yes, the Eagles will be underdogs in that situation.
On paper, but I mean it's a divisional game. Anything.
There's no underdogs in divisional games in NFC.
I think it was the Philadelphia Eagles just in this season, their roster. I do believe they'll be the underdogs this year. That's just my opinion. I'm interested to see what the Eagles do this year. But I do know when you go into that division, they play amongst each other. They always do play hard and they do compete. So you can shake your head all you want, but you'll be the one on this show week 3 raging. So and you can book it.
I'm not raging about the Eagles this season. I have no expectations for them.
Now just remember too, Freddie, the only really I would say win you might have out of your first 3, because y'all face Denver, you go to Washington, and then you face Atlanta.
We going 3-0, starting 3-0,
bruh.
Who do you see us losing to?
The Broncos.
Denver? I'm not scared of Washington. The Broncos need to figure out their quarterback situation.
And your quarterback isn't any better.
But my defense and my weapons and Saquon, my quarterback will be good this year. I'm telling you, he knows the pressure.
The Broncos have a great defense. The Broncos have weapons, and they have 2 running backs. So let's just move on from a guy that hasn't been paying attention this offseason.
All right. Well, when we go 3-0, I'm calling both of you guys out. Just letting you guys know.
You do that.
I don't even think y'all went 3-0 under Eli. You ain't going to go 3-0 under Eli Manning 2.0.
Now, don't you? Okay. Oh, I'm trying not to go there with you.
I wouldn't even call him 2.0. I'd call him 1.7.
All right. Well, what do you guys expect out of your teams this season? You know, I'm just interested in hear what Mr. Tony had to say, the Cowboy fan, a team that haven't won nothing in the last 26 seasons. I'm just interested in hear what you got to say.
I mean, I'll be honest. At cap ceiling for Dallas, I maybe see them getting 9 wins. If they get 10, sweet. But 10 is the most I'm going to give them. Again, Dak is coming off of an injury-riddled season. They do still have a hard schedule. Obviously, the division's always tough. You know, at 10-7, maybe 9-8. I honestly, I won't be surprised if they go 8-9. Like I said, I think they're going to be in contention for the division. The only team that I feel more certain about potentially winning is Washington, just purely on their defense. I think with Ryan Fitzpatrick, that gives them an elevation at quarterback that they didn't have last year. He's a little bit more of a risk taker. And to answer John's question, if Dallas doesn't get more than 8 wins with Dak, does McCarthy keep his job? I don't think so. I think this is going to be one of those Mike McCarthy's. This is going to be his hot seat year. I think Aaron Rodgers kind of made Mike McCarthy who he was. And if he doesn't have a fully healthy Dak and if he doesn't succeed, I think Mike is out. So, yeah, I mean, I don't expect anything crazy out of Dallas at least. I'm a little bit more optimistic for the Colts. I think Carson Wentz will be back. I think Quentin Nelson will be back, and I think Jonathan Taylor. I'm going to say this right now. I think Jonathan Taylor, top 5 in the league in rushing next year.
Mm-hmm.
Tony, I must say you are the first Cowboy fan that don't come on here being delusional. Come here, we're going to win a Super Bowl and all that nonsense. I am proud of you. If we've had some come on here and talk all that crazy nonsense. I will add to that. What do I expect out of the New York Giants? And I'm being realistic here. I can see us winning about 11 games this year. I'm going 11 games this year. That's being realistic. I see Chris give me that look. I see us winning 11 games this year with a healthy Saquon Barkley, with an improving offensive line, with a defense that cannot get worse, will get better. Will be a top 5 defense, in my opinion. I believe, and with the wide receivers that we acquired, Tony, the wide receiver we drafted, we still have Galladay. We got Galladay. We picked up Rudolph. We still have Shepard. We have Evan Ingram and Saquon there. And I mean, hey, the only question mark the New York Giants have this year is at the QB position. But ladies and gentlemen, remember this. Daniel Jones do not have to be no big time playmaker quarterback. You don't have to be that type of quarterback. He can be. We can do the. We have Saquon Barkley. We have one of the best running backs in the division. One of the best running backs in the NFL. We can put the ball in his hand. Offensive line block. We can run with him. And when it's time for Daniel Jones to make plays, we need him to make the plays. That's where Daniel Jones is going to be looked at. I'll say, okay, Danny, we see that he can throw the ball. His only problem is fumbling the football, and sometimes when he feel pressure, he will throw interception time for time.
So Freddie, can I ask you something real quick? A
course.
Legitimate question. So I'm looking at y'all's schedule, right? And
Yes, sir.
And these aren't in any particular order. You just tell me what you think you're going to go as far as these particular games go. So the Giants face the Rams in New York. You go to Kansas City.
Loss.
You go to Tampa Bay.
I'm going to say a win. Remember last year we played against Tampa, very competitive. We only lost by 3 points. Remember that game?
That was the year before last. That wasn't last year. That was a year
No, it was last year.
Because
we played them last year as well.
You paid? Okay, I'm going to have to look that one up just to be sure. But Tampa Bay, Miami.
Win.
And you go to the Chargers.
I'm going to say win.
And then you go to Chicago.
Win.
You think Danny's going to be able to match against Chicago's defense, and by then that's week 17. Justin Fields may or may not even be in that game.
I believe that by the time we get to Chicago, they will not be able to put points up against our defense. You act like Daniel Jones. People act like Daniel Jones is the only player. We have Saquon Barkley. He is a game changer. He did run for 2,000 yards rookie season. He did score 15 touchdowns. I mean, people, please put some respect on his name. He's coming back from injury. I expect him to play good this year. I expect him to be a big-time running back this year. I mean, stop it. I mean, pump the brakes. I expect Daniel Jones' job to get much easier. He have not had this much weapons in the NFL around him. It will get easier. When it's a pressure year, he knows he's under pressure. He knows this is a third year being a starting quarterback for the New York Giants. He knows he has to come out there and perform. Like I said, that's the only question mark when it comes to the Giants. The only question mark.
And you were right. They did face Tampa Bay last year. They lost. It was 25-23, and Tampa Bay won.
Yeah, and it was a competitive game. When Tom Brady always played Giants, it's always a competitive game. It's never no blowout. So, like I said, I have us winning. The least amount of games is 10. The most I got is 11, and I would be surprised they win 12. Chris, did you go away because you had to get some orange juice or something? Because I seen that you left.
I went away and I had to make sure this is on the screen so everybody understands why it's called Mr. Delusional. I just want to say a few things. You say, and it's all good. I look at your roster. You got some games where it's like it could go either way. That's understandable. So you're really optimistic, but then when you talk about your team, you talk about them like they're Super Bowl bound.
This is Super Bowl.
No. I said the way you talk about them, you talk about them like they're Super Bowl. I just want to, because you're guaranteeing double-digit wins, because you said minimum 10, max 11. So you just guaranteed double-digit victories. I just want to point out a few things. You say you can hand the ball off to Saquon. That's nice, but I don't think you understand the amount of weapons, the amount of wide receivers and tight ends that the Giants have. There's no way you bring in all these guys and expect Daniel Jones to only pass 17 times a game. You got Kenny Golladay, you got Kadarius Toney, you got John Ross, Sterling Shepard, you got Darius Slayton, then you got Evan Ingram and Kyle Rudolph. And if you had a quarterback on your team like Aaron Rodgers, then I will understand you feeling that way. But you got a guy, Daniel Jones, who has not improved from year 1 to year 2. His numbers honestly got worse from year 1 to year 2. And you can say, okay, you don't have Saquon. Okay, you bring in Saquon back. You get all these weapons. Let's see what you do. Let's see what you do. Because you would think, no, Saquon, we passed the ball more, but he passed the ball less, and he had 13 less touchdowns. So I'm curious to see what happens when he has all these weapons. It's make or break. I don't believe in Daniel Jones. You can, that's fine. He's not good. He's bottom 20 quarterback.
But he's never had what I'm saying is we can't really, we try to judge a quarterback, but
why can't we hold the standards the same? We judge other quarterbacks differently. We judge other quarterbacks to high standard. Why can't you judge your quarterback to that same standard?
Let me ask you a question. You have Patrick. Every quarterback can't be Patrick Mahomes to come into the situation where everything's beautiful.
He can't be. He can't. So, I seen quarterbacks that go into situations that weren't beautiful and turn lemons to lemonade. Why can't Daniel Jones?
See, to me, I think the problem is that the Giants went for him in the first round. Like he wasn't really a big name coming out of Duke. Yeah, he wasn't a big name coming out of Duke. Now, if y'all would have got him, second, third round, and been like, hey, this guy's going to be our starter, I don't think there would be as much pressure on Daniel Jones.
Not at all.
The way people look at it, he was what, a top 10 pick technically?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, average quarterback expected to come in and take over, for Eli Manning.
Well, I'm not going to say he's an average quarterback.
Average quarterback.
Isn't anything wrong with being a game manager quarterback anymore? I mean, is there anything wrong with that?
Game manager quarterback wins the big games.
Tom Brady. Tom
Brady's a game manager.
He started out, yes.
Tom Brady's a game manager.
Not now, but starting in his career, yes.
Tom Brady led teams in the fourth quarter that 2-minute drill to win touchdowns. Game managers don't do that.
All I said is Daniel Jones. All he had to do.
Okay. No. Listen. Freddie,
see, you get a chance
because you start backpedaling. You start making no sense, and I don't want to embarrass you because I'm tired. So I'm just going to answer the question on what I expect from my team this year. I have no expectations for the foot. I'm not moving the goalposts. I just don't want to, waste any more other people's time. So I'm going to answer the question really briefly. My expectations for the Eagles, I have no expectations. We have 2 guaranteed first-round draft picks next year. We are not in a predicament to win a Super Bowl. We have some nice young players. We also have some old veterans that need to be off the roster. Now, is the division wide open for everybody? Yes. Can we win the division? Yes. But, we got a new head coach. We got a new D coordinator. We got a new offensive coordinator. I can't just come in, even though they did good things at their old jobs, I can't come in and expect them to be extremely dominant their first year with this first team. And so I think, honestly, looking at our schedule, we can win about 8 games. We can win the division because our last 4 games in the season, it's Washington, Giants. Washington, Giants. You got 4 games. Hold on, I got some in the background, my bad. But you got 4 games to end your division. To end your season, you're going against divisional opponents. So the Eagles' season, just like last year, is going to be in their own hands. And so you win those 4 games, that's division champions right there. So I don't expect us to dominate. I don't expect us to win those games. I don't care what we do. As long as we beat the Cowboys at least once, I'm cool. And as long as Carson Wentz plays 75% of the season, so I can get 3 first-round draft picks, I'm also cool.
And quick question for you, Chris, because I just want to know, since you're an Eagles fan, do you think Howie Roseman should go?
Howie Roseman should have been fired 2 years ago.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
My order of operations last year was Howie Roseman, Peterson, John Ross. You mean that guy stays hurt? That's fine. He runs a 4-2. Let him stay healthy. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, Howie Roseman needs to go. He can't draft. His draft was questionable this year, but I think he gets a pass because he brought in a star in Devontae Smith because he always passes up on great wide receivers. So, but I think he should go. He needs to be up out of here.
I just think it's fascinating that Chris, still believes his team has a chance.
Did I not just say I have no expectations for my Eagles this year? That was the first line I said.
Yes, but when you finished it, you said
we can win a division. You play 2 division teams 4 straight times to end your year. Is that not opportunity for any team to win their division? And you had 4 games against division opponents.
It was a 7-9 team that won last year. You had 3 6-9 teams.
Well, Tony, don't you mention it last year. Don't mention last year because Chris' team, his team quit. His team quit.
Can we move on? Because I don't understand why you're complaining about another team when y'all won 5 games.
Y'all lost on purpose.
Win more than 6 games.
Well, don't go out there like phonies. That's
Freddie,
what y'all did.
Y'all Giants fans are only upset because it only affected your chance to win the game.
Well, why lose on purpose? I mean, I don't know a bunch of grown men that want to go on the field and lose on purpose. I just never seen that before.
Can we move on? Because it wasn't the players trying to move. Anybody that knows anything about anything knows that's a management shot. It's not the players. Why do you think players got pulled out the game? So let's move on, Freddie.
Whatever. Y'all still
6 games.
We will this year.
Grown men shouldn't depend on nobody else to do something. Win your games, win your opportunities. Daniel Jones.
All right, let's go to the AFC South. We talked about the NFC. Let's move to the AFC. Who do you believe is the favorite to win the AFC South? We hear rumbles out of Indianapolis Colts that Carson Wentz went down with a foot injury, and they said he's supposed to be gone for this long period of time. But he said that is a chance that he can come back sooner. So with that being said, Chris, who should be the favorite out of the division?
I mean, going into the year for me, it was the Colts. I thought Andrew Luck sadly retired at the wrong time. I'm not mad at him for retiring because he went through a lot. If he'd retired 2 years prior, I don't think it's an issue. But we got somebody waiting. I don't think it's an issue, but when he retired, he finally got one of arguably the best offensive line in the game. So I look at the Colts. I think their offense is good. Questionable pass catchers, but they got a good running game. I believe in their system. I like their defense. So I want to say the Colts, but with the injury of Quentin Nelson and Carson Wentz, it's a big question mark. I like what the Titans did, but I don't believe in their defense. With that being said, I'm saying a lot of gibberish. I'm leaning a little bit more towards the Colts, probably 55% Colts, 45% Titans. Nobody else, by the way, in that division has a chance of doing anything. Let's just, get that out the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you the story about the Colts. Chris still have a little love for his past quarterback, his ex-quarterback down there, Carson Wentz.
Tony, can you explain to him why all Eagles fans are rooting for Carson Wentz this year? Can you explain to him?
Because, really think about it. Carson Wentz got hurt in a playoff game, putting the team on his back, doing what he had to do to succeed. Yes, Nick Foles happened to step in, do it. But, like Chris mentioned earlier, I think Howie Roseman should have been gone a long time ago. He was making bad deals. Alshon Jeffrey didn't pan out. Nelson Aguilar has bursts of greatness where he can do really well, where he can't. And, that's really not, Carson Wentz's fault. Their running game, when they went to the Super Bowl, they went out and got Jay Ajayi. Jay Ajayi was fantastic for them, and then he completely fell off. They got Jordan Howard, just a couple years prior was one of the best leading rushers and one of the best rookies. He fell off, and it's the same for a lot of teams. The injury bug just got to Philadelphia. So really, it's not Carson Wentz's fault. I think he's in a bad situation. I don't think Doug P was a bad coach necessarily.
Terrible play caller. Great coach, terrible play caller.
Yeah, and I think he just happened to move with, hey, I got a young quarterback here in Jalen. Why not try it? The season's already done anyway.
Well,
And
they like
there's one more thing he forgot. Carson Wentz played 75% of the season. My Eagles get another first round pick. So I need him to play. I need him to succeed. So my Eagles can have 3 first round picks next year.
Well,
That's
they like
just
the
a
injury
fact.
bug followed him right all the way from the Eagles to right
He
to the
didn't get
Colts.
injured last year, and he got sacked more than anybody. So this injury
So,
bug, let's nip that in the bud because all his injuries have been freak accidents, and that's a
hey,
fact.
he's hurt now. So, but let's welcome the coach to the show. What's going
I
on,
would say
Coach?
Quan.
What's up? What's up, man? Just jumped in, see what y'all talking about.
Yeah, Chris throwing shots. Saquon he gonna have a big year this year. Just watch. I'm telling you. Hey, Coach, who do you believe is gonna win out of the division out the AFC South?
To be honest with you, I'm kind of with Chris, man. I'm living towards. I like the Colts. Because one thing about it is they're gonna run the football.
Mm-hmm.
So Wentz is not bad, man. He takes his shots. He actually got a vertical threat out there with Ty. So I kind of like them, man. I like the run game because they're gonna give it to both backs. They're gonna total at least 30, 35 times a game. And they're gonna try to keep his throwing at least 20, 25 to 30 times a game, which I mean that's the minimal for a quarterback. Titans, they look good offensively.
Defense was bad though.
But that's the thing. I don't know what they have defensively because they don't have a pass rush. They tried Clowney, they spent that money, and they kind of blew it. Everybody else is just a wash. Texas,
They did bring in Bud Dupree, but I believe he was injured. So I think they gotta wait for him to get healthy.
But that's the thing too. Bud Dupree is was he that dominant with the Steelers?
He was decent. He wasn't bad. I mean, he's an upgrade.
He's decent.
But
who else he had with him?
You're right. He did have TJ Watt.
And you still had Hayward in the middle.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. You got to look at that. And I ask you this: who you think athletic wise is better, Clowney or Dupree?
Clowney, but Clowney's a scrub though. Clowney's a scrub. He did nothing for them.
Yeah, he's hit and miss.
So that's what I'm saying. But I'm just saying athletic ability wise. So if you look at Dupree, he's not gonna be no different because now, like you said, I can double team one guy because he's not a freak of nature. He's not like one of them guys that we got to sit there and really threaten. So like I said, I like the Colts. I think I like Wentz. I just feel like that they put him in bad spots with the Eagles. Like they want to throw it vertically. He's not a vertically throw guy if you don't have vertically throw receivers. At least with Ty, you can hit that play action and throw it over the top. So I'm gonna go, like I said from the beginning, man. I'm a coach.
I'm gonna keep it short. I'm gonna go with me first. I'm going with the Tennessee Titans. Yes, you have Ryan Tannehill as your quarterback. Yes, you have the big back and Derrick Henry. I expect Derrick Henry he's gonna have the same amount of it's gonna be even better for him with a Julio Jones on the outside. I believe Julio Jones is gonna be more open than he ever have because you have a threat, in a Derrick Henry running down the lane. I believe the firepower they have is going to make it easy. Yes, they don't have the defense, but I believe with the coach, with Carson Wentz with that injury already, it might hold him back. We're not sure how he's going to look like. If the quarterback's not there, the coach team not going to move. But we seen with the Tennessee Titans, they had a bad year last year. They actually regressed the year before. So I believe that they're going to have a comeback year this year. And look at Chris. Chris, you can put whatever you want to put on there, but watch. I'm writing all these takes down, and when it comes true, I'm coming after you. Hey.
I mean, I'm not mad at you because, like I said, I'm 55-45. I just, I can't trust a team that has no defense. And today, I can't trust a team that's not, offensively, dominant and defensively dominant. And the Titans' defense is the worst it's been in the past 2-3 seasons.
Well, like I said, a lot of times your offense can overshadow that. At sometimes, just really depends on the situation.
What team has won with a
listen,
what team has won with a bad defense?
And I think with Derrick Henry, they put the ball in his hand. The time possession of the game is going to be a lot in their favor. That's all I'm saying. So I expect, hey, that's just
I
how I
could
feel.
believe you if you gave me some more football facts instead of Freddie facts.
Hey, Freddie facts is the best facts. All right, Tony, who you rolling with?
Yeah, real quick. Don't get me wrong. I love my Colts. They're my hometown team.
Preach.
But the only thing that has me worried is if we look at last year, Derrick Henry was really the only running back that was able to do anything against that Colts defense, which is the only reason why I would even give Tennessee a slight edge over them. I'm kind of like with Chris. If I was, I'd give like 51% Titans, 49% Colts. Just because the Colts do have a good offensive line. I think running game, they're going to be fantastic. Defensively, they're still going to be stout. The big question is quarterback, though. If Carson Wentz comes back pretty soon, I'll probably give it to the Colts. But as of at least right now, if Carson is going to be out for a good minute, I'm going to have to give it to the Titans just purely because they will ride Derrick Henry, and he tore the Colts defense up last year.
Hey, Derrick Henry's a beast, man. Need to think, y'all need to put some respect on that man's name. That's all I got to say about that. I mean,
Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cost them
Old Phillip Rivers past his
cost-
prime.
Exactly. Cost them that game against the Bills. Any other quarterback, they win that game. He couldn't make the throw. He four straight possessions, same routes, couldn't make one throw, and he messed up in the red zone. He had opportunity to convert, messed up because he couldn't make the throw.
And lost to the Jags first game of the season. I remember watching that.
Oh yeah, that was bad. I was
dumbfounded.
shocked about that one.
Yeah.
all right, Tony, let's go with you on this next topic. Out of these three quarterbacks, which one would you want to build your franchise around? You have Deshaun Watson.
Before you name them, everybody's healthy. You start your franchise, everybody's healthy. Just want to put that out there.
Right.
Yeah, you have Deshaun Watson, you have Lamar Jackson, and you have Josh Allen.
That's a tough one. If I had to eliminate anybody right off the bat, I'm probably going to get a little bit of hate for this. I'm going to eliminate Lamar, and I only say that because Lamar has won for his teams. He's shown that he's a proven playmaker, but he has never had the wide receiver talent to support him as far as me feeling confident in him really like throwing the ball and him being taken more of a pocket passer presence. He kind of reminds me a little bit of like a Mike Vick. Like he can run the ball, he can throw it. And to me, Deshaun and Josh Allen are really similar. I mean, the characteristics are there. They're good leadership. They make smart plays. I think, if anything, I am going to pick Josh Allen. I've seen him progress as the years continue to go. He's got a good arm. He finally has a number one receiver in Diggs that was proven last year because he was able to take the Bills to the playoffs. Now, that's really no knock to Deshaun. Even with the Texans, as big of a dumpster fire as that is, that's really their only bright spot is having one of the best quarterbacks in the league in Deshaun Watson. I'll probably give it to Allen just because Deshaun did have that injury kind of early on in his career. He's only had one, so that's really no knock to him. But there are some speculations as far as off-field issues where you don't have that with Josh Allen. So I would say Josh Allen is who I would start around.
Coach, I seen you made a look.
No, I'm listening, man. I'm listening. Look, I respect that man, his choices, man.
All right. Are you running with Josh Allen?
Oh, me?
Yeah. Who you running with?
No. I mean, to me, it just varies because you gotta look at pretty much how you build your offense, what your offense around. I honestly, truthfully, if I had the three guys, first would be Deshaun Watson because I think he's a dog, he's a winner. Even though when you watched him in college going against Alabama, I mean, he was out there taking that lick, so I know he can take it. Like he said, he got the issues with the massage. I don't know. I wasn't there when he was getting the massage. So he got that going on for him. Lamar, even in college, Lamar, he chucked that thing around. I think his issue is more so you gotta look at who he has as a coach. The OC.
Thank
came from Seattle.
you.
He's a run. I'm a run. run second. You know what? Within doubt, hey, it's
Run
third.
third.
I'm gonna run again. So I think that kind of limits him. And then now the second thing you want to do is place blame on the receivers. The receivers they're fast, but they're not route runners. So I like Lamar, man, because Lamar gives you that dynamic effect. Like, so linebackers, you can't just drop into a zone. You gotta really respect it. I hope to see him this year because the Ravens they have a great receivers coach. He's a good he got some good stuff. Even if you watch his YouTube videos, Instagram, like he knows what he's talking about. So that's my second. Josh Allen. He progressed. Because if you go back, if you go back and you look, when Houston played Josh Allen, who won? Houston did. Josh Allen, he choked.
In that playoff game.
Yeah,
Yep.
So, I mean, like I said, I don't, for me, this is in all sports, I'm not really a big guy on what you do in the regular season. Because if you're a star, you're a star. It's what you do in the playoffs. Just like if you look at, anybody. So I seen Deshaun Watson do it in college. I seen him do it in the playoff games with nobody. Like I said, I think he's bar none. He's there. He just Bill O'Brien screwed up the whole Texas
Team, the whole organization.
Yep.
And then I guess as he screwed it up, and then he needs to release some stress. That's all I can say. I plead the fifth on that one. But I like Lamar.
Me personally, I'm going Deshaun Watson. When you look at Deshaun Watson, you look at Patrick Mahomes. He's right here, and I believe Deshaun Watson's right here. Deshaun Watson is a stud quarterback. I believe he can run with his legs and he can throw accurately. You can yes, he had DeAndre Hopkins down there at Houston, but he also had other receivers where he makes them better as well. And Kendall, we're not talking about no Russell Wilson right now. So I'm going Deshaun number one. I'm gonna go Josh Allen number two. I just believe what we seen last year with Josh Allen, him in the AFC, him battling it out, going into playoffs, making big plays. He have a running ability as well, and he can throw with the football as well. We seen with him getting a big time wide receiver in Diggs, what it did for him as well last year. It definitely elevated his game. It made the Bills a much better team. And then with the no running game, by the way, but they still had that wide receiver with the Cole Beasley. But we still see Josh Allen's numbers definitely increased. Why give him receivers? And I believe, as of right now, because he's in a better position than Josh Allen is, Lamar Jackson is. If Lamar had a Diggs, if Lamar had the weapons that both of them quarterbacks have had, we could have seen Lamar Jackson have a more takeoff. Maybe we'd seen Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens take off further in the playoffs that they have. And then Lamar is a dog. He can run with the football. He's a dude that you cannot, if you're a defender, there's a hard time getting this dude. He's one of the quarterbacks that you do not like the game playing against because he's so skinny and he can get in and out the pocket real easy. He can go down the lane real easy. He's a stud quarterback, and like we've always said, Chris said on the show many times, need to get this man help. Need to get this man help on the offensive coordinator as well. Need to make some plays for Lamar so we can see Lamar Jackson open up the playbook. Chris, who you going with your to start your franchise with?
I mean, before I give my answer, I'll just say this about all three quarterbacks. I called all their destinies. I'm just going to say that. I told people what Josh Allen was going to be. I told them how they was the most underrated team the year they lost to the Texans in the playoffs. And then they went in and got Stephon Diggs, and we seen Josh Allen become – everybody's loving this dude. I was like, did y'all not watch him? He showed that he had a cannon. It was just about working on accuracy, something that you can easily improve on, especially when you get the weapons around you. He got Emmanuel Sanders this year, another very good wide receiver. So Josh Allen is now going to continue to be on that upper echelon, elite level quarterback, status. We talk about Lamar Jackson. Lamar had, I forgot which one of y'all said this, but if Lamar had any wide receiver talent that Deshaun has had, or any wide receiver talent as Josh Allen. Hell, if he even got one of those guys, a true number one, he's yet to have a true number one, and he's won MVP, and he's had over 30 passing touchdowns without a true number one. you're right on that. Justin Herbert is a guy people are going to like because he had a great year last year. But, Lamar Jackson, if he had, any wide receiver help, I mean, the dude is going to take off. I know how talented he is because he showed that he could throw the ball in college. But, like Coach said, the offensive coordinator got to go because he's holding his team back. Wide receivers running the same routes, and it's easy to defend the team when they're going to run the ball 2 out of 3 times. Now, my pick, who I've been saying for the past, couple of years, is the second best quarterback in the game, is Deshaun Watson. I said it during the season last year. People called me crazy because of the record. They won 4-12. I got a stat for here because I had to write an article. 8 out of those losses were by 8 points or less. So out of the 12 losses, 8 were by 8 points or less. I remember watching a lot of games where he leads his team to go score. They score, and the defense blows it. I look at his stats, 301.4 yards per game. That's second in the NFL. 70% completion percentage. That's third in the NFL. I mean, the dude is a dual threat. He was 5th in rushing yards. He doesn't mean like to run, but he can run like Lamar. He can pass like Mahomes, and he can run like Lamar. Simple as that. Yes, he has some off-the-field issues, but listen, this is fantasy. That's why I was saying everybody's healthy. I don't care about your off-the-field issues because it's not about to affect me right now because this is a fantasy draft. And if it's a fantasy draft, I think I think Deshaun Watson is over here. Then the other guys are trying to work their way up to his dual threat because Josh Allen, yes, he can run. Yes, he has a cannon, but he has some accuracy issues. Same thing with Lamar. I think Deshaun Watson is the most complete quarterback out of the 3. And this dude, if he's able to lead the Texans and go to a team that can win, people are going to understand why everybody's calling him the second best quarterback in the NFL.
All right, cool. Did you want to address any of the comments?
I addressed the Justin Herbert one. I mean, this one, it's all up to him. It's all up to him if he wants to sit out. I haven't read. I would like this as well. There's a reports that he's coming to the Eagles. I wouldn't make that trade until after the season. I haven't dove into, the off-the-field issues with Deshaun Watson because I just saw it all build up from him requesting a trade to this happening. So I never read into it. I'm not going to speak on it because I don't want to say the wrong things. I just have no knowledge towards what's going on because I choose not to read into it.
Yeah, I don't. And I'm not going to dive in super into it because obviously I don't know what happened. Everything is speculation. However the justice system does it is how they're going to do it. I did see an interview where they interviewed one of the ladies that supposedly had this happen to her. It was kind of an interesting thing to see. iHeartRadio had it on one of their articles, so it was interesting. She got into like very specific details. So I don't know. I hope that it's not one of those where she's lying about it and just ruining this man's career. But like I said, it's one of those. None of us were there. None of us know. It's all speculation. However it pans out is how it pans out.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's keep it moving. That's all for the NFL topics for tonight. Let's move to the NBA. The Summer League just ended. As you guys can see, the Sacramento Kings was crowned the champions. What player out of the Summer League had the most of breakout, top standout in the Summer League? Go to you, Chris.
I mean, I'm going to have to name 2 players. I'm sorry because I got to give somebody a shout out. But the first player I'm going to name is Cam Thomas. During the draft, I told people he was a steal. I don't understand how teams let him fall to the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets do not need more scoring. As a freshman, he led the entire SEC in scoring. What do you think he's going to do in the league? He led the Summer League in scoring. This dude is a bucket. He's going to a team that off the bench needs offense because their bench was questionable. Everybody said their bench was terrible last year in the playoffs. They didn't have guys they could rely on. They signed Patty Mills, bringing this guy in, Cam Thomas, who can just focus on scoring. That's all he has to do. He doesn't have to try to make for others. Doesn't have to try to do anything that's not himself. I think he dominated the Summer League, and I know he's going to do his thing in the NBA. And the second guy, a guy from Delaware, I want to shout out Bone Hollins, drafted by the Denver Nuggets. He was able to put on a show on the team that was trash. Denver Nuggets had one of the worst Summer League teams, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. But he was able to do his thing, shoot 40% from the 3 on over 8 attempts, give you about 20 points, had a 28-point game in the Summer League, made a big defensive stop, had, big free throws to win the game. So for me, those were if I had to pick 2, those are my favorite 2 players and my top 2 standouts in the Summer League.
All right, Coach.
Say, man, I'm going to go way off. I'm going to say, this is crazy. I'm going to say Ball, man.
I ain't mad at you.
one thing about it, you gotta look at it, man. You had Big Brother come in, then he went stupid. Middle brother went to China, tried to steal stuff, and disappeared. Then little brother came in and kind of did his little thing a little bit. He can't. Hey, it's like he got himself together. He worked on his shot and everything else. He looked good. I mean, that's the biggest thing. When you do summer league, you got, like you said, you got a few guys that can go, but usually it's guys that they trying to fight to get an opportunity to play on the roster. So I'm gonna go with Ball.
I was gonna say Ball as well. All right, Tony.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna show a little bit of love to the hometown team. Chris Duarte for the Indiana Pacers. I thought he was
still in the draft.
Yeah, solid. He only played over the 4 games. He played. They won 2 of them. He was the top scorer at 3 of the times. He ended it. He averaged 18.3 points, 45% from the field, and 47% from deep, with a little over 7 attempts per game. So yeah, I thought he was a steal. I think he's going to be solid for the Pacers.
All right. Let's keep it moving. The next topic will be: what playoff team that went to the playoffs this year do you believe will not be a playoff team this year? We'll go with you. We'll start with you on this one, Coach. What team do you believe that made the playoffs?
I think, honest truth, I think it's gonna be the same team. Because if you sit back and you look, who improved that didn't make the playoffs? Because if you look,
the Bulls in the East didn't make the playoffs, and they got DeMar and Lonzo.
Okay, so you say the Bulls. So if that's the case, I said they'd be battling for that 8th spot.
Just the
8th?
Chris, who you think right now? We know who's the top 4.
Top 4 is going to be Brooklyn, Miami. Huh?
It don't have to be a typical order. Just
Brooklyn, Miami, Bucks, Heat or Sixers.
No, you're.
Oh no, yeah, Sixers. Then. Sixers.
So then, you think they're better than Boston?
Close. I don't like Boston that much, and I think they're close with Boston and the Knicks, 2 teams that were top 6. I think they're close to Boston and the Knicks.
So you still, I think that's why I said I think it's gonna be the 8th spot. I think Atlanta,
you gotta include Atlanta.
So now, I mean, when you go to the NBA Finals, so they're gonna be kind of rolling a little bit because they didn't lose anybody.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't game, but they didn't lose. But they're still in that semi. I'm still young and dumb.
I think they're definitely top 5, and so I think those 3 are going to battle for 6. And
then you take New York. New York upgraded.
I mean, yeah, but they upgraded. But again, I don't think they're that much. I think the Bulls upgraded just as much.
How?
Getting DeMar DeRozan and Kemba Walker is getting the same player, and they got Lonzo.
Yeah.
Evan Fournier.
So who would you take better, Kemba or Lonzo Ball?
Lonzo, without question.
Kemba coming home.
Kemba can't play no defense.
Kemba coming home.
Kemba has no knees.
He don't have to play defense. What point guard you got to play defense against other than James Harden or Kyrie?
You're going to have to play defense against Kyle Lowry.
And Miami.
You're going to have to play defense against Kyle Lowry, against Trae Young, against Drew Holiday. I can keep going.
But you don't have to. You don't have to against Trae Young. Because you know why? Because all he going to do is pick and roll anyway. Right or wrong?
Trae Young ISO. I've seen Trae Young ISO a lot.
Trae Young is not ISO.
When Trae Young has somebody on him who he feels like cannot guard him, he's going to ISO you.
When you saw him play the Knicks, and even if you saw him when he played the Bucks, it wasn't just one-on-one, I'm going to take you off the dribble. Here comes the big guy, I'm going to set this pick and roll.
That's their offense, though. But I seen him ISO.
So the thing about it is, you got to think about it with, you take New York. I don't need you to play defense, Kemba. I need you to shoot. But
I'm not mad at that.
I mean, I like Chicago. They look good on paper, but I gotta see it because, again, I'm a big believer. I don't see winners. I mean, and you're gonna hear me say it, Chris.
Who do you see winners on the Knicks? Who won on the Knicks?
You're gonna hear me say it I'm talking about enough to carry a team to make it to the playoffs?
Who won on the? Who?
I don't see it. At least
What
they
about-
all been. They've been
who-
there. They've done that.
Who you see on the Knicks though? That's just that carrying that team.
But
that
they play defense.
okay.
What does the coach do?
The
What does he believe in?
coach don't win?
Chris.
Coach don't win.
What?
What do we define as success as winning?
Chris.
First round exits his past couple times in the playoffs.
Chris. Them making it to the playoffs is great. But coaches don't win. So let me ask you this, and let's just be honest. You watched the NBA Finals, right?
Of course.
Was that coaching or was that playing?
That's tough. Because I feel like some coaching adjustments could have changed some things up, but playing had a big part. That's tough.
That's what I'm saying. Think about it is now you got players, but coaches got to make adjustments. And when you watch the finals in the NBA Finals against Phoenix, there was after game 3 or 4, it was no adjustment because they couldn't stop the pick and roll for nothing. So, like, I honestly, truthfully believe, because one thing about it, I like New York, and here's why I like New York. Because New York got something to cheer for. They got it's gonna be they believe something, and then you got Kimball. Kimball's coming home when he was with UConn. That's Madison Square Garden is his second home. He's gonna be back. You like at the crib, but I still believe, and I could be wrong. I still think the Bulls is gonna push. They'll push maybe for that 9, 10, 8, 7, 8 spot, and they'll play for it. They'll take the Pacers out.
Well,
because the West is gonna be what it is. It's gonna be the same team. Ain't no debate about it. So who do you think, sir? Or Tony?
I mean, for me, the only playoff team that I see from last year that I know is not going to make it is the Wizards, and I say that mainly because they lost Westbrook. I mean, I know I've come on here, I criticize Lakers all the time, and part of the time I just do it to mess with Freddie a lot.
I mean, he hated on Westbrook last year every single time he got, but now because he's the Laker, he's the best point guard in the NBA.
Right. So I mean, like Coach said, regular season you're great, but it's what you do in the playoffs. And I mean, I think the combination of Westbrook and Bradley Beal is a phenomenal combination. It worked well enough to get them to the 8th seed in the East. But with just Beal by himself now, I don't see Washington. I think the Bulls would actually knock Washington out and be that number 8 seed.
And what was Washington?
The 10th. They were 10th in the play-in, but they were 8th when because they when they playing games.
And
so are we kind of playing? Or are we just talking about the first 8, top 8?
That's a good question. Do you want to count playing? Because playing counts.
Play as in, I think there'd be the play-in for the 8th spot.
Okay, so we just doing top 8. That's all.
Oh, so if we're doing just top 8, and if you put Washington at that spot, then I'm gonna say the Bulls.
Okay.
Because I didn't even Wizards was not even in my mind of vision. Like I think everybody's gonna be the same except I think the Bulls will be the 8th spot.
Well, I'm going out there in the West because I'm ranking this top 8. I'm going top 8. I'm going with the Clippers. I don't believe they'll be a playoff team next year. Kawhi Leonard is out. I do not believe Paul George will be able to lead this team in this loaded Western Conference to lead them to the playoffs unless Kawhi comes in to time to say today. Me personally, I don't think Kawhi's coming back. We already know how personal this dude is when it comes to injuries. But I don't believe he's coming back.
He just re-signed for a huge deal.
Well, I don't think he's coming back this coming season though.
He won't play this year.
I don't think so.
Who come? Of course he's not playing. He tore his ACL right 3 months ago. Yeah, everybody know he's not coming back.
Well, people are still reporting that there's still a chance for him to come back.
9 months, he's not coming back. Anybody that knows anything.
And if he forces it, that's just going to hurt him in the long term.
We know he's not going to force it, and I wouldn't force it if I was him either.
No,
so I believe Golden State's going to take the Clipper spot next year. I believe Golden State will be a playoff team. I believe they'll be better than that Clippers team. I just do not believe that Paul George have what it takes to lead the team to the playoffs. That's just my opinion.
Only because he's done it before, so I don't understand what you're saying.
When have he done it before by himself?
With the Pacers.
Last year.
Okay, how long ago was that? When was the last time we seen that Paul George, Chris? Since the Pacers.
With the Thunder when he was the MVP candidate.
Okay, so what's
player of the year candidate?
What didn't happen the last couple years in LA?
He just
he didn't do it by let me correct you on this something. He didn't do it by himself in OKC. He did have Mr. Russell Westbrook.
I said with the Thunder. I didn't say OKC.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying. So,
but I'm saying what I'm saying. So you're trying to put words in my mouth.
Who's going to be the second player on the Clippers team that's going to help him this year? Is Reggie Jackson going to be his best player next to him? Is Terrence Mann going to be the next best player next to him? Who's going to be that second guy? We all know that you need a second guy next to you.
You don't need a second guy, depending on how your others play. If you can have a whole bunch of guys that can give you 15, you don't need a second guy. But if you only got 2 guys that can give you 15, then of course you won't need a second guy.
Well,
Freddie, Clippers to make the playoffs, dog.
Just tell me when you're throwing me the question, Freddie, because I got things to say.
I think Clippers to make the playoffs. I agree with you, Golden State. I think Memphis would be probably out again, but I'm not going to. Clippers will make the play. They'll make the playoffs now. They ain't going past the second round, but I believe you on that. But you should be quiet. Let's Chris, mute Freddie, and you go ahead.
Me and Freddie is always fun, but I gotta correct you on one thing. The East is deeper than the West this year, and that's a fact. When you look at the West and you look at it, when you look at the West, now let's get to it. When you look at the West, when you look at the West and you look at the 10 teams that made the play-in, and you look at everybody else, what other team do you think has a chance to actually make the play-in? You got the Pelicans, you got the Kings, the Timberwolves, the Thunder, and the Rockets. Which one of those teams do you think actually has a chance to make the play-in tournament? You don't believe in none of them. In the East, you got the Bulls, you got the Raptors. Those are 2 teams. That's 12 to 10. And you look at the Spurs. Do you really believe in the Spurs? No. So you can count that as 9. So they're, who cares what they do? They're not going to do anything special this year. Now, for me in the West, I'm picking the Clippers over the Grizzlies. Only because I think I like the coaching a little bit more. I like the players a little bit more. I got to see Jaren Jackson comes back and stops, trying to shoot too much and going back to the Jaren Jackson I saw and believed in. And I got to see what that young draft pick do. But right now, I like the Clippers more than the Grizzlies. So in the West, I don't think the Grizzlies are making the playoffs. And then the East, you probably had to say Wizards and replace them with the Bulls. Even though I don't think the Wizards are going to be that bad because they got 4 players for 1, which I think is always a W, in my opinion. So, but I'd probably pick the Bulls over the Wizards. Don't count out the Raptors, though. I think they can sneak into the play-in tournament. And you still got the Hornets and the Pacers. The East is deeper than the West.
No.
You're tripping.
I don't. What?
I think. Well, and Chris can correct me if I'm wrong. I think Chris is saying you have more. I guess
teams that can make the playoffs. And
you have better
to the West.
Yeah, you have more kind of X factors with those other teams than in the West. Like, yeah, the West is considered more of the powerhouse, but I would say the West is a little bit more solidified, and you know who is bad and who is good. Whereas the East, because it's the East, it's a little bit more open to interpretation. It could be really anybody's year as far as who gets in and who gets out.
East had 3 of the top 5 teams last year. If we being honest.
It's what you call the LeBron James effect. He go to the West, everybody leave. He's in the East, everybody go to the West. Just saying.
Okay.
That's the truth.
If you say so.
Nobody's going to talk about LeBron right now. Let's not get in that topic that LeBron should at the crib. I mean, I agree. I don't think if you want to say deeper. Okay.
As in, you got 12 teams that can be 1 through 10, and you believe in. In the West, it cuts off at 9.
Yeah, I agree with you. Again, if we're talking about just making the playoffs, yes, the East got 12. So
the West probably got a better 6 or 7. I'll say that.
Yeah.
That can, and I won't argue on that. The West got a legit 7, a legit. Oh, let me see something. A legit 8. Nah, 7. Kawhi's not here. A legit 7 that you think can literally win a championship. So I say
7.
that.
I'll say 6.
Who else you counting on?
The Nuggets. I mean, Jamal Murray.
They don't got Murray. They don't got Murray. If they had Murray, though, you're counting them.
Murray be back.
His injury was he'll be back about mid-season.
One thing about it,
I'm going 7.
One thing you say, even with Kawhi, with Kawhi out there, Paul he'll carry it. They had some young cats that did.
Not for no championship,
Oh,
no.
wait, we ain't talking about. He's talking about playoffs.
So he's talking about playoffs,
That's
Freddie.
what the whole conversation is about playoffs.
I don't see him making the playoffs neither. I don't believe in Paul George.
All right, let's move. Freddie's about to start hating because he's the Lakers.
I'm
fan.
not no hater. I'm
Freddie,
not
okay,
hating. I'm not hating.
Okay,
Hey,
let's
you're
just
right.
move on. Let's just move on, Freddie. Let's just move on to the next topic.
I get called a hater because I keep it real. All right, let's move to the next topic.
You never kept it real.
What? Because don't make me put some clips up, man. Hey, that's all I gotta say. In this upcoming season, who do you guys predict will be the best player in the game? Do you guys believe that LeBron's going to pass the throne, or do you guys think it's still him?
Freddie,
Tony,
you
Ooh, that's a,
you want me to go first?
yeah, I kind of do actually. I want to see what you say first. I
You
think
want Freddie
we're all
Max
kinda
or Mr. Delusional?
All right. I don't need a big screen, man.
No, it's fine. You staying with the big screen.
All right, listen, ladies and gentlemen. You know, a lot of people, watch the playoffs unfold, and a lot of people made a lot of predictions and a lot of, false, claims and all that good stuff. They seen Giannis Antetokounmpo win his first championship. They seen him win the championship by the team that he was drafted for. They seen a Devin Booker in the playoffs who went off. They seen a Devin Booker that ace, claimed himself in the playoffs. They seen a Paul George who elevated himself in the playoffs as well. They see a Steph Curry. They seen Kevin Durant, who was carried a Brooklyn team by himself. It wasn't for his feet being too big. They would have won the championship more than likely. And they made these false claims about them being the greatest player of all time, the best player in the game today. But, ladies and gentlemen, there's been time before where we've seen LeBron give the throne and he take it back. Give it to him. Take it back. People wanted to give it to Kawhi Leonard a few years ago when he won against they beat Golden State Warriors. They wanted to give it to him, give it away from him many times. But people, you got to remember, if it was not for injuries, this Laker team would have made a deep run in the playoffs. So let's stop it. If it was not for injuries, the Bucks would not have been in the finals. That Brooklyn team would have been healthy. So let's stop it. We're gonna see this year. LeBron hear all the slander. He hear all the talk. You see what he tweeted out. Super washed. You guys seen that. You guys see he's gonna be extra motivated. He's gonna have a squad around him. And one thing I do know is when a LeBron James come into a season motivated, it is a scary deal. We seen it a few years ago when he won the championship with LA. They called him the Wash King and all that good stuff. And what did he come out with? He came out there with anger. He came out there and dominated. And I expect the same thing this year. Do not let the media, do not let the people fool you. LeBron James is still the best player in the game today. I do not believe Kevin Durant, Giannis, or whoever you guys are going to say have took the throne just yet. Look, like I said, you've been given to him, but it's been because of injuries, not because his game has slipped. And I believe LeBron James will retake his throne. All right, Tony.
Man, it's tough because I mean, really, you look at it, and I think that was kind of the cool part about the playoffs that unfolded, and the fact that we didn't have the typical teams that we had. We got to see more of Giannis. We got to see Trae Young. We got to see a lot of Luka. I'll be honest. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say Luka is going to be one of the best. Next year. I think he's a solid player. He was great for Dallas last year. I think the big thing that Dallas needs is they need to get him a legitimate number two. More than anything, I've been saying this from the get-go. You pair him with Dame, and the Mavs would be extremely dangerous in the West. I could still make an argument for Nikola Jokic. As far as being defensively, but personally, I think it's Luka.
All right, Chris.
I'll say this. This is one of these topics that is one of these casual fan bandwagon topics because people pick and choose how they want to, how they want to answer this question. Because you'd say, oh, the person that wins the championship and the person that won the Finals MVP, right? They did everything to be considered the best in the NBA. But you look at it, and Kevin Durant won back-to-back and nobody wanted to give him the crown. Then Kawhi won. Nobody wanted to give him a crown. Now that Giannis won, everybody wants to consider him the best. Like Giannis
They
has
did the
been,
same for Kawhi.
huh?
They did the same with Kawhi when he won the championship in Toronto.
So people weren't saying, "Oh, but LeBron, oh, but LeBron." People weren't
No.
saying that.
No.
Y'all tripping. People
people
weren't
were
saying,
saying-
"Oh, people
Hey,
weren't
hey,
saying LeBron was injured. If he was playing healthy,
No,
this
no,
wouldn't
no,
have
no.
happened."
One thing about it, you saw the commercials.
I think where Chris is coming from though is because a lot of times they've been like, well, Golden State fell apart, and that's part of what helped
When-
Kawhi win.
No,
Freddie,
when Kawhi won,
and you just said, and LeBron was hurt. When LeBron, before he got
I
hurt,
said it.
before they got hurt, they were a top 4 seed. This was nationally known that people were saying, "Oh, it was not a lot," but you heard people saying, "Oh, if LeBron wasn't hurt," you still heard these rumbles. The point I'm trying to make is Giannis won, and I'm not hearing no rumbles. I'm not hearing, "Oh, but the net." I'm not hearing that as loud as I was hearing it when they said
But-
KD joined the Warriors.
But you know why though, huh, Chris?
The league, my opinion, which is I've been saying this for years, the league has been trying to make Giannis to face the NBA for the past 4 seasons.
But the reason, you know why? Because
I mean, they had this young guy out.
no, that's not why. It's he didn't leave us. He stayed where he was at. He didn't go create a super team. He didn't go create all these people. You got to realize that because Milwaukee's a small market team, and he stayed.
And so they're going to push that.
They're trying to build around that because then you got to look at it too. That's a slap in whose face? LeBron's face.
Even though LeBron didn't really create super teams, but we're not going to get into that. We don't got a lot of time.
I understand that, but the society, they think every time LeBron goes to a team or every time he does this, he goes and he brings people with him. But now when you got Giannis, Giannis said it all the time. Yeah, I stick with him. This is who I ride with. Boom, 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 boom. Like I don't go work out with these guys because I'm trying to beat these guys. Like even if you hear him talk, he cried on the stage when he won the MVP. I just want to be the greatest. I just want to be the best. Best where I'm at. So people fall in love with that because he laughs, he jokes, and
They do.
But that's what you think of Giannis. But when you see a LeBron, you think LeBron's trying to be a billionaire, and LeBron is the next thing that's in many people's eyes from the beginning when he says he turned 17, 18 years old. He's the greatest. He's the GOAT. Like he had it tatted on him, the chosen one on ESPN magazine. I think, and that's the thing. Why now they're like, let's use Giannis. Giannis won it. We can use this. But I mean, I'm gonna go with Freddie, and I'm sorry for cutting you short. I just believe LeBron. I gotta see it 2 years in a row. One thing about it, and me, Freddie, and Tony, we talked about it. I think the NBA Finals was a wash this year because the teams that went to the NBA Finals, the year before, they lost out first round. They was hurt and injured. Like all the big teams that went even to the third round, they were all hurt. Because you look at who you got this year in the NBA Finals. Not even NBA Finals, the Final Four. They all lost out early in the playoffs in the bubble. I think now you're talking about what LeBron's been rested. Even Miami, they've been rested since mid-June.
Yeah, early mid.
And they're not playing to October. That's a lot of rest time. And one thing about it is, we all know LeBron he put a meal on his taking care of his body. And he has those meetings with everybody that just say, hey, we're this, we're that. Hey, we can't work together, Westbrook. So I got to give it to him until he can't do it 2 years in a row. Then once he can't do it 2 years in a row, then I'll be like, all right, we gotta move around. But of course, the world gonna go with Giannis. Giannis, he's the favorite one because LeBron's too close to Mike. People don't like him being close to Mike, so they're gonna try to throw shade as much as possible. You go on Facebook, everybody goes on Facebook. You always every second you see two things. Either you see hate about Michael or you see hate about LeBron. Especially when you talk about basketball. Everybody's always throwing shade.
And we did see them. They tried to do this for Kawhi because when Kawhi won that championship, they tried to make him seem like he was the greatest, best player of the game. They tried to make him the best player in the game. I'm just saying, and we all know that Golden State Warrior team. If you seen the interview with KD and Draymond said KD, if he was healthy, he said easily. So, let's move to the next topic. Kind of running out on time. This is what we're going to call the fun segment. It's called the Big Three fun segment. We want to crowd the Big Three with current players that you feel will dominate in the league. So give us your top three players. Put them on the team that you think will dominate in today's game. Chris.
Luka, Kawhi, and Joel Embiid. Simple. My top three. I'm going Luka, Kawhi, and Joel Embiid. Kawhi Leonard is my lockdown defender. Kawhi Leonard is my two-way star. He does, he does. I don't need you to play make. I just need you to have tunnel vision to go score. He can score. Luka, we know he can score, and he can play make, and he can rebound, and he has size. Joel Embiid, you know how I feel about him. He's the best center in the game, and he has him on both ends of the court, offense and defense. I want to say, yeah, I'm gonna stick with Kawhi. Shout out to KD though. I got a lot of love for KD. I just went the Kawhi in there because I got respect for him as well.
I'm going Steph Curry, the greatest shooter this game has seen. He's but the thing about Steph, he's a great shooter, but he's not selfish as well. He's still gonna make sure the others get theirs as well. And then I'm going KD. KD, I don't care what nobody say, 7 foot tall. He can shoot anywhere on the court. You can't stop him. The dude can shoot over you. The dude, we all know what KD's about. And then number 3, I'm not going with a big. I'm going LeBron. I believe them 3. They both can have the ball in the hand. They both can score at will. LeBron can get you on the inside. LeBron can get you on the outside. And LeBron can make the other 2 better as well. So yeah, I'm going those 3. Coach.
Man, you gonna think this? Steph, Clay, and LeBron. One thing about it, kind of like what Chris said, if Clay's healthy, he plays defense.
True.
And we all say all you need LeBron is to shoot. So why not get the best 2 damn shooters in the game? They sit out there, let it rain. LeBron, you go to that paint and you kick out. I think that's my 3.
All right, Tony, who you rolling with?
I'm gonna go with Steph. I'm gonna go with KD, and I'm gonna go with Giannis. I got 3 great shooters. I got 2 guys that can definitely lock people down. I got 2 big guys that can go up to the rim, and obviously Steph is one of the greatest shooters we've ever seen. He can make those magic shots. So those would be the 3 I'd roll with.
All right. Hey, before we go, Coach, tell the people what goes down this Sunday. Kind of, let them know what you guys working with. Give them a little sneak peek.
Hey, Sunday, man, it's going down. Talking about that football. Hey, TDC, Touchdown Crew. When we break down football, we break down the games before 12 o'clock. So we're going to go 10:30, 11:30, just breaking down all the games and having a different look, different perspective than what you see on ESPN and Fox.
All right, so make sure you guys tune into them on this Sunday as they get started.
It's a crazy mix that we got. We have a crazy mix of guys. It's gonna be very interesting because we're like all 3 of us total different. So it's gonna be very, very entertaining and a lot of like, are you serious?
Hey, there you go. This is another Tony. Want to thank you for stepping in for Kenny as well. You're welcome to the show anytime. Thank you. Chris, good luck with your schooling. I know you moved into your dorm rooms and everything. We'll catch you, whenever you're available. Shout out to you. Hey, this is another episode of Real Talk on the All Sports All Plays Network. Do you guys have any last things you guys want to say before you out?
Thank you all for having me. I always love coming on here. I always love seeing, you and Chris go at it. And I'm just one of those guys that kind of like to have fuel to the fire and kind kind of be devil's advocate. So I love seeing it. It's entertaining for me. I hope it's entertaining for everybody else watching too.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
There it is.
Hey, I'm rolling with the Giants this year. Y'all, hey, I roll with them. Hey, we're not gonna get into that. All right, Chris, take us home. You guys have a good night.
All right, I got one more thing to say. Freddie, if you go 1 week without saying anything delusional, I'll never call you Mr. Delusional again.
Man, that's it. That's easy. Easy money.
Yeah, we'll see next week. Peace.
All right, y'all have a good night.